The first person that we are looking at is someone who is dealing with a loss of a loved one. It might be a baby, a child, a spouse, somebody that you loved so dearly who was close to you but unfortunately had passed away. So the person that we are looking at today is David, King David. In 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 19 to 20, it talks about how David dealt with the death of his new baby born. It says in verse 19 to 20, when David saw that his servants were whispering, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said to his servants, "Is the child dead?" And they said, "He is dead." So David arose from the ground, washed and anointed himself, and changed his clothes. And he went into the house of the Lord and he worshipped. Then he went to his own house, and when he requested, they set food before him, and he ate. So we see here a man who has been praying for the healing of the child, praying that God may deliver the child from death and deliver the child from his sickness. But the child did not survive, and the child unfortunately passed away. And then when he heard that the child is dead, he arose from the crying and he went into the house of the Lord and he prayed and he worshipped. This is a practical example of how somebody can, instead of worry, worship. Because when you are in a state of worry, it's about the problem and not about God. It's about the problem and not about the solution. There is no solution to somebody who has passed away, but there is something else that you can do to take away the worry, and that is worship. That whatever that you are feeling in that space, you are redirecting and you are changing the emotional state that you have from worrying into worship. That even though in the midst of all, I choose to worship my God. In the midst of everything that is happening, I choose to remember that there is one who sits on the throne, who is worthy of my praise and who is worthy of my worship as well. There is a minister called Minister Dunsin Oyekan. He has this song that I used to listen to and worship. He says, "I'll be here
all of the days." Let's sing this part for them. Say, "I'll be here, lifting hands, even when it is
isn't easy." That worship is not only for a time of rejoicing, but in the midst of everything that is happening, in the midst of pain, in the midst of worry, we can choose to sacrifice and worship God. From what I learned about Minister Dunsin is that he had also gone through a loss of his wife, and in the midst of the pain, instead of staying in a constant state of worry, he chose to worship. And in the midst of the time of worship and praise that he had alone with God, God gave him songs to minister to people, and those songs are blessing us today. Even with the book of Psalms that was majorly written by David, it's also about praise and worship and looking to God in the midst of pain and loss. And when I read the book of Psalms and I play the music of Minister Dunsin, it has also helped me in a time of loss. I have lost some family members and the pain was excruciating. That I turned to God in praise and worship, and I thanked Him for the life of the people that I got to know them, and I got to experience their love, and they also got to experience my love too. So in the midst of your loss, in the midst of your pain, I encourage you that worship God, and He will make the pain easy, and He will be able to heal the brokenhearted, and He'll be able to help you to walk through the process of grief as well.